Craig McKilquham was known as Truck to those who knew him well. The nickname suited him. He was a big man, strong, determined, and hard to stop. By day, he appeared to be a loving father, a devoted husband, and a calm, responsible man. But when the sun went down, Craig became something else. Behind the scenes, he was the leader of the Niagara chapter of the Hells Angels, one of the most feared outlaw biker gangs in the world. To outsiders, Craig seemed like a regular man. He lived a quiet life in a peaceful neighborhood in Ancaster, Ontario. His home was neat, his family was friendly, and nothing about his appearance screamed danger. But inside, he was living a dangerous double life, balancing family barbecues with gang meetings, bedtime stories with drug deals, and innocent family dinners with organized crime. On the evening of April 29, 2025, Craig went out for dinner with his wife and children. They went to a Mandarin restaurant in Burlington, a popular Chinese buffet chain in Ontario. The family laughed, talked, and ate together. It looked like any other peaceful night out for a normal family. No one at the restaurant knew that Craig was being watched. After dinner, Craig walked out to the parking lot with his wife and kids. As they reached their SUV, a man approached. It happened fast. The man pulled out a gun and shot Craig multiple times, right in front of his family. Panic broke out in the parking lot. His wife screamed. People ducked for cover. Craig collapsed next to his vehicle, bleeding out on the pavement. He was pronounced dead shortly after. He was 49 years old. The murder shocked the quiet community. Police arrived quickly, cordoned off the area, and launched an investigation. But this wasn't just a random act of violence. Detectives soon realized that this was a targeted hit, a calculated execution in broad daylight, carried out with precision and confidence. The man accused of the murder was 30-year-old Jeremy Sinopoli from Mississauga. He was charged with first-degree murder. Jeremy had no clear link to Craig's personal life, which led investigators to believe that he may have been a hired gun, a contract killer working for someone else. But who would want Craig dead? To answer that question, police had to go deep into Craig's hidden world, the world of biker gangs, drug trafficking, and criminal rivalries. Craig's rise within the Hells Angels was no accident. He had spent years building trust and loyalty within the gang. He wasn't just a member, he was a leader. He had connections with major criminal organizations across Canada, including mob groups in Quebec and biker factions in Western Canada. He was known for keeping order, resolving disputes, and making big deals happen. He wasn't flashy or reckless. He was organized, patient, and strategic. But being at the top of the food chain comes with enemies. By early 2025, tensions were growing within the Hells Angels and other allied gangs. There were whispers of betrayal, stolen shipments, and shifting power. Police sources believed that some members of the underworld had grown tired of Craig's leadership or threatened by it. Others believed Craig had crossed the wrong people, and they wanted him gone. Some reports suggested that Craig was involved in high-stakes drug deals, especially cocaine shipments coming in from ports in Montreal and Vancouver. If a deal went bad, if money was lost or a shipment got seized, someone had to pay the price. In that world, apologies don't matter. Blood does. Craig's murder was a message. It wasn't just about removing one man. It was about shaking the foundation of a criminal empire. Killing someone like Craig, in public, in front of his family, was meant to send shockwaves through the criminal network. The aftermath was immediate. The Niagara chapter of the Hells Angels went quiet. Meetings were canceled. Members went into hiding. The Ontario police ramped up surveillance and raids. Several arrests were made, and investigations into illegal weapons and drugs intensified. It was clear the killing had thrown the biker world into chaos. Meanwhile, Craig's family was left shattered. His wife, who had once believed her husband was simply a businessman with some past baggage, now faced the horrifying truth. Her children had watched their father die, and the man she had shared her life with was no longer just a victim. He was also a suspect in a life filled with secrets and lies. Media coverage was intense. Craig's smiling photo, in a Hells Angels vest, was flashed across every news outlet. Friends described him as loyal and kind, while police sources called him dangerous and influential. To some, he was a devoted father. To others, a crime boss. The truth was, he had been both. What made Craig's story so chilling was the contrast between his two lives. How could someone kiss his kids goodnight, then organize a drug deal hours later? How could he host a charity event one weekend, then threaten a rival gang the next? This duality wasn't new in organized crime, but Craig had mastered it to a terrifying degree. His murder remains a key case in understanding the growing violence in Canada's organized crime world. Over the past decade, biker gangs have become more powerful, more connected to international drug routes, and more violent in their methods. Gone are the days when gang wars were hidden. Now killings happen in restaurants, highways, even in front of children. As of now, Jeremy Sinopoli awaits trial. Prosecutors believe they have strong evidence linking him to the crime, including security footage, cell phone data, and witness testimony. But the bigger questions remain. Who ordered the hit? Why did they choose that moment? And is Craig's murder just the beginning of a larger turf war? As investigators dig deeper into the case, a much darker and more complex picture begins to emerge. Authorities are now convinced that Craig's murder was far from a random act of street violence. Instead, all signs point to a calculated and deliberate execution, a hit that was ordered from higher up in the criminal hierarchy. Insiders suggest that Craig may have been preparing to break away from the Hells Angels, possibly to form his own gang or establish a new drug pipeline. If true, such a move would have been seen as a direct threat to the stability of the existing criminal power structure. In the world of organized crime, loyalty isn't just expected, it's enforced. Any sign of betrayal, real or perceived, is met with swift and brutal consequences. Craig wasn't just any member of the gang. He was a key player, a man with deep connections, influence, and a reputation for leadership. Police say they expect more violence in the days to come. When a powerful gang leader like Craig "Truck" McKilquham dies, it doesn't bring peace, it brings more chaos. His fall has left a power gap, and now many people want to take his place. These people may be more dangerous, more aggressive, and even less interested in peace. History has shown that when gangs lose a leader, rival members fight hard to gain control. This often leads to street wars, revenge attacks, and more bloodshed. The police know this cycle well, and they are preparing for what's next. What's even more alarming is that this violence is no longer limited to dark alleyways or shady neighborhoods. Places like Ancaster and Burlington, quiet, peaceful suburbs where families live normal lives, are now being touched by the shadows of organized crime. People who once thought they were far from that world are now feeling its presence at their doorsteps. The fear is real, and it's growing. Craig "Truck" McKilquham was a man who lived two completely different lives. On one hand, he was a charming, polite neighbor, the kind of man who would smile, say hello, and even help carry groceries. On the other hand, he was deeply involved in serious criminal activity. He had power, money, and connections in the underworld. He wore both roles like masks, switching between them with ease. But in the end, these two lives clashed, and that collision cost him everything. It's a tragic example of how even the biggest, most powerful people in the world of crime eventually face consequences. Just like a massive truck that seems unstoppable, eventually it crashes. But Craig's death isn't just a headline. Behind the scenes, real people are suffering. His family is shattered. His children, who were kept away from the truth for so long, are now forced to face it. They're young, confused, and heartbroken. They are struggling to understand who their father really was. No child should have to deal with such a painful truth. His wife is also left in emotional ruins. She once loved him, trusted him, and built a life with him. But now she's left with betrayal, grief, and the heavy burden of starting over. She has to rebuild her life, not just without her husband, but with the knowledge that he was hiding a dangerous secret all along. Even the neighbors who once saw Craig as a friendly and decent man are now questioning everything. They're shocked, scared, and deeply disturbed. If someone like Craig could be hiding such a dark side, what about others? It raises an important and uncomfortable question. Do we really know the people who live around us? This question lingers in the minds of many, creating fear and mistrust within the community. If you found this story eye-opening and powerful, please don't forget to like this video, leave a comment to share your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss more stories like this. And most importantly, share this video with your friends and family, because the more we talk about it, the more we stay informed, alert, and safe.